first leadership summit, and I was speaking on the topic. I can remember vividly. I was speaking on the topic 21 years of obscurity.
What?
And I shared, how do you grow in obscurity? Because it was a lockdown, how do you survive in obscurity? And we had 40 people who joined that webinar. 40. I did the second one on the last month of May. That was on 30th and 31st.
Yeah.
So I rang Dr. Ezekiel Mutua. I told him, hi, Dr. I'm organizing this session and young people are going crazy about leadership. Would you mind come share your experience about leadership? And he told me, I will be available.
Oh my God, just like that.
And he honored my invitation. I rang Wahiga Maura. Wahiga Maura is, if he happens to watch this,
oh my God,
he's really, really a blessing.
I hope he watches. I'd be so honored.
Yes. Because I had also invited him to come to KU during that leadership conference.
I think I saw the poster.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I met him in a conference somewhere during Ezra 2019 in Kabara.
Okay.
And Wahiga honored my invitation. So let me tell you, when people saw that, we had 100% attendance on Zoom. In fact, some of my leaders, the people I was working with, had to leave the Zoom room.
So that more people can join. So
that the speakers can join.
Oh my God.
And that was the time I realized this thing is big. Now, on the 6th of June of 2020, I rang Robert Burale. Sorry, man, I am organizing this session and I want you to come talk about feeding your purpose. These things are on social media. If people think I'm lying, you can go check them out.
I'm a witness.
Robert Burale accepted my invitation.
Wow.
When people saw Robert Burale coming and he was talking about a topic that was so central because of the season we were in, feeding your purpose. We had 100% attendance on Zoom, and we live streamed that session on our Facebook page. You can actually go check them out. Let me tell you, within 1 hour of his speaking, we had 3,100 people who watched that video on Facebook. 3,100. And when we checked on Facebook analytics later on, we saw 200 people who were watching that session from the United States. 200 people. And we are not talking about old people. We are talking about, because Facebook can give you that analysis.
Yes.
Between 18 to 35.
The young people.
That's when I realized this thing is big and I need to work on very well on it. Sometimes later I rang he's actually the chief operating officer of AMREF. He's called Mr. Stephen. He's actually a namesake. I told him, because I met him in some conference somewhere. It was a virtual conference, he was speaking. And I happened to chat him. People can actually network on a Zoom call.
Yes.
I chatted with him and I told him, I'm organizing this session. I'd love you to come speak to people. And it was a career mentorship now on how work-life balance. And he came. A whole chief operating officer
oh my God.
of AMREF honored my invitation to come. Because of clarity of purpose, you get. So that is actually how Unlock Young Leader Summit grew. Right now it is 3 years and 4 months old. And from our analytics, we have been able to reach to more than 25,000 people in more than 64 countries globally.
Oh my God.
Globally. I'm not trying to say numbers that I'm not sure of. And we've been able to build a community of more than 2,000 young people.
Amazing.
We have organized conferences at International Leadership University in Hurlingham, and I invited student leaders, and we had almost 150 student leaders from 10 universities within Nairobi County who attended that conference. I did another one at Zitech University, and we had 200. In fact, it was more than 200 people who attended. And we were having students from 16 universities. People traveled all the way from Dedan Kimathi. Guys traveled all the way from Masai Mara University and the University of Eldoret to come attend that conference here at Zitech University.
Wow.
And we have had quite a number of things. The recent one, I organized African Student Leaders Convention, and I invited quite a number of people to come speak. The likes of Mary Ben Omolo.
Yeah.
I've invited Dr. Wole Akinyemi. I've invited PLO Lumumba to speak in some of those sessions.
Yeah.
And we had around 658 student leaders who registered for that African Student Leaders Convention in more than 94 universities.
Oh God. Talk of social capital.
Yeah, so that is just what I'm doing. And of course, now someone can ask, did you transition from biochemistry to all these things? I think it's very important to respect season and what God is doing in your life, because in the economy of God, no experience is wasted.
No experience is wasted. That's good.
And so God allows us to go through different seasons in life, and you have to be so discerning to pick what you need to do in that very season. And in a noisy world that we're living in, it's so important to have the you moment. There's moments of solitude. To ask God, really, what do I need to do? Let me be frank to you, Rozitta. It is hard. Finding a moment of solitude and connecting with your Maker, it is not an easy thing. But you have to have the discipline of heart to making sure that you respect what God is doing in your life in a particular season.
Sure.
So my life as a biochemistry student has unfolded well. And of course, through the many things that I've been doing, I have gone to more than 200 high schools to speak about my life story, about how do you survive family trauma and how do you pick yourself up as a student, because I experienced that firsthand. Let me tell you, in all those high schools I've gone, students have come to me, both boys and girls, crying and telling me I'm suffering, my family and stuff like that. And I realized this thing is so huge than just what I know philosophically. And I just don't want to tell people about my life experience. That's why I quickly jumped into a Bible school. And that's why I'm doing my master's in theology, so that I can help people understand from a biblical point of view. How do you handle pain? How do you handle trauma? How do you handle issues of life? And from there, you're able to build a beautiful life out of it.
Amazing. Oh my God, I feel like if we end the episode at this point, you have shared it all, but I want to draw more from the world that is called Okanda. And maybe now we can focus on social capital and get to understand why is it so important to build. Because people talk about social network, but they're like, what is that? Where do I begin? I'm an introvert. How can I do that? So help us understand, how can we have the likes of PLO Lumumba picking our calls? Help us, tafadhali. Let us understand, why is it so important to build social capital and how do we do that?
Amazing. Social capital is an outcome of something. It's an outcome of you finding your true nature, you finding your true identity, and you finding your true purpose in life. And when you have identified that, now starting to build social capital, you conduct what I call interaction. You have formal and informal interaction with anyone that you think is connected to your purpose and your calling. But now you cannot call the people that I have called. Let me tell you, there's no way I could just leave campus and start thinking I can meet these people. I had to have something, because social capital is an outcome. It's an outcome of something. And I think I just need to pick from somewhere quickly so that people can have a clear view. Now, how do you craft your purpose? And how do you get grit of your calling? Of course, purpose is not self-made. You don't decide one day I want to be a rapper. You don't just wake up one morning and say I want to be a fashion designer. You don't just wake up one morning and say I feel like I need to be a preacher. No, purpose is God-given. And if God can speak to people in the Bible like Jeremiah and tell Jeremiah, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. I set you apart, and then I appointed you to be a prophet. Now, when you just stop there and you ask yourself fundamental questions, between the prophet and Jeremiah, who is being spoken, who is older? It is the prophet. So God appointed Jeremiah to be a prophet before he was born. And if God, Jeremiah actually was called, Bible scholars say that he was called when he was 17 years old. Very, very young people,
Yeah.
you know. And if God can speak to Jeremiah the same way we read it in the scripture, God can actually also speak to you and tell you, this is what I have formed you to do. But it is hard because many people don't spend time with God.
Yeah, so they can't find out.
Yes. For example, you have this camera and this camera breaks down.
Yeah.
You don't start opening it and fixing it by yourself because you did not make this camera.
Oh.
You have to go back to the manufacturer, the person who made this camera, or someone who has a knowledge of how to fix the camera. Now, many times, because we have gone through various experiences in life, we tend to push ourselves out of our calling because of maybe the torture we experience. Now, let me come back. Now, after you have identified your purpose, there's what I call positioning. Positioning is when you step into places where real conversations happen. It is so wrong to carry food and you're not serving the people that food is supposed to be served. You get? So positioning is identifying what platforms do I need to step into. Wow. And that is costly because you might need to go for some conferences. Yes. You might need to call people and ask them for an appointment. You might need to you might need to take a flight let's say take a mat from one point to another, so that maybe you can go meet someone. And you need to have that. Now the outcome of that is confidence in what you are doing as a person. Now there are 4 things I love to mention for you to get your purpose clear. You need to make sure that you're getting, I call them the big 4. The big 4. And they're not the big 4 agenda. It's just the big 4. Yes. Now, the first one is your dreamer. Your dreamer is your vision capacity. What do you see? If you sit down with yourself today, what do you see? Because the capacity of the vision you see will determine how far you'll go. And the vision you see will actually thrust you to pray more, to seek God more, and to seek for clarity more. You understand? Wow. And the very thing that the devil does is to shut down our vision and our ability to see. Yes. And you become spiritually lethargic. So you can't pray, you can't seek God for yourself. Yeah. But number two is you are a thinker. Your thinker is that that ability to reason and to analyze. If this is my vision, how do I get there? What do I do? Now, your thinker gives you what I call the process, because process is very important. Yes. You can't just wake up one morning and say, I want to realize my dream, you see. But the third one is your lover. Your lover is your emotional capacity. You cannot service your purpose if you're emotionally depleted. Oh. You get? And today actually I was just posting something on my Facebook page. You can't serve people when you are running out of oxygen. And there are people who are serving but they're emotionally incapacitated. Yeah. You get? Yeah. And your lover is that point of connection, because we are emotional beings. I can only connect with you according to how I'm emotionally aware. There's an amazing gentleman called Gordon MacDonald. He has written a book on emotional intelligence. And he talks about how do you relate with yourself, because how you relate with yourself determines how you relate with others. Now, imagine you get into a lift and right about that time, you meet the president, His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto. He's also on that lift. Yes. Do you have that heart that can actually compel you to talk to him? Oh my God. Or you just feel like, you know? So your lover, what is the condition of your lover? That emotional kind of a capacity that you carry. Yes. But the last one is your warrior. Your warrior is the person that pushes you to perform. Because if you have the dream, then you have to perform to realize that dream. Yes. Now, if you get these 4 things clear, it gives you, the result of it is another 4 things. Now, I call them setting your profile. It gives you possibilities, it gives you perspective, and then it helps you to connect with people, and then it helps you to achieve or to have high peak performance. So that is possibility, perspective, people, performance. Wow. Now, when you have crafted your profile, you can step on any platform and connect with anyone, because you have confidence is a result of self-awareness and what you're able to give to people given an opportunity. Wow. You know, there's a time when I was organizing the African Student Leaders Convention, I happened to get the contacts to Mr. Honorable David Osiani. He's actually the CAS of the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization. And I asked the lady for an appointment with him. I went to the office and I met a queue, and I was the last one in that queue. You know, I got to the office at 9 in the morning. I was meeting Honorable at around 4 p.m.
Wow.
He's tired, he wants to go home, and he's closing down the office. That guy was so gracious, and he told me, "You have 5 minutes. Please tell me what you want." Hey, now, if you don't realize the power of your dreamer, the power of your thinker, the power of your love, and the power of your warrior, you can't size the moment. You see, so social capital is an outcome of having those formal and informal interaction. Now, how do people get it right? Get yourself where conversations happen. But yet again, you have to make sure that you are clear on what you are made of. And it may not be leadership the way we are in leadership. It can be your career. You're just aware of your career as a person. And many of us are looking for job and opportunities and stuff like that. How do you build a rich network? Go to where these people are. There are people who have never paid for a conference. There are people who have never paid for a training. There are people who have never, it has costed them nothing to be who they want to be. And they want to size social capital. The last word for social capital is capital. So if you don't sacrifice your resources to go where conversation happen, you can't get it. The second thing, volunteer. I don't know. The people who are doing this, you just need to ask yourself, when was the last time you volunteered your time, you volunteered your resources to make sure that you're servicing a purpose? You know, many people who have attended our conferences and trainings, many times they get opportunities, and the question they asked in that, for example, if it's a scholarship, many have have reached out to me. They ask me, can I write that I volunteered in your organization? Get a place to volunteer and exercise your skills and capabilities. Each one of us, God has wired us with specific abilities and capabilities. And that is very important. Now, the third thing, you need to relinquish yourself from your past. Because many times when we have these opportunities to tell people who we are, the backdrop of our past just shows up. And we are like, no, I can't. Me, I'm an introvert.
How now?
I'm an introvert. I don't want to speak. And for sure, that thing has tortured so many people. Now, you can't forget your past. Let me just be true to people. You can't forget your past. Let no one lie to you that you can forget your past. But you can outgrow your past.
You can outgrow it.
Now, when you outgrow your past, you become peaceful with it. You can actually use it as a reference point. You know, some years ago, some times ago, you get. And for me, that has given me an impetus even to step and speak about the things that I'm speaking about. And then the other last thing, social capital is not found in the people who have it all. There's something that God was teaching me when I started the organization. Grow with your generation.
Grow with the generation.
Now, many times, Rozitta, when we, for example, we're just talking, 5 years from now, you might be owning a media house.
Yes, amen.
And
amen to that.
You know, you're owning a media house. And when we were doing this show, I was just like, this is small. Or some of the colleagues and friends that you actually grew up together with or you went to school together with, sometimes we look at them and we are like, this one will not help me. Let me run to people who have money. I honor them that have gone up before me. I honor people who have it all, and I learn from them. But I don't forget and despise my generation. Out of these people, I remember when we were having the leadership conference in ZTEC, and 200 young people were seated. I remember in my opening remarks, I told them, seated in this room are potential presidents of companies. Seated in this room are MDs of companies and institutions, principals, secretaries, and leaders of government. Let us make sure we make friendship out of this. Our generation, and I'm sorry to say this, we are struggling to make friends with our own peers.
That's true.
And we despise our friends because of the situation or the season they are in.
You judge them based on where they are.
And you forget. You tell me, there are people who actually can go to State House today and they will go straight because they grew up with the president.
It's true.
Because they were fun. They were fans. They used to go to chill together. And, maybe even for our president, he was a missionary one time.
Yeah.
They used to serve God together. He can actually go there. But because we have sabotaged our fellow peers because of the stage of life they are in, we may not be able to capitalize much when time tests our gifting.
Oh my God.
You get?
I get
and when we miss that, we lose it all. So I'll challenge people, volunteer. The second thing, be confident of the thing of what God has called you to do. The other thing, be where real conversations happen. The other thing, if it will cost you anything, pay for some conferences, pay for some trainings. There are people I have actually met in a virtual Zoom webinar, and I've chatted with them, and they have come for my, for my leadership conferences. But the other thing, grow with your generation. Those are potential social capital, and it may not take long. Just within 5 years from now, let me tell you, some of the friends that you have will be owners of great companies, and they'll be doing amazing things, and maybe time might not favor you. And that is actually the time to reconnect with them and tell them, this is what I'm doing. I've gotten an opportunity to work with some institutions, and when they're looking for an employee, the conversation just goes around the company. We are looking for this and this person. Do you know anyone?
Wow.
Do you know anyone? But because you despised me, because possibly we don't even engage, I can't know what you are able to do. The other thing, that as I come to a close, there's a law by Simon Sinek. He has written a book on, he has written so many books. There's one for Find Your Why, Start With Why. And he talks about the law of diffusion of innovation. Now, in that law, it says that if you cannot get 15 to 18% of a population to believe what you're doing, you may not hit the tipping point of anything.
15 to
18%. Now, he talks about a bell curve. You know a bell curve?
Yeah.
A bell curve, in a bell curve, the first 2.51% are called innovators. And they're the smallest population, 2.5%. The second category in the bell curve is the early adopters. Now, these are people who will want to take up change because they have seen the innovators taking it up. And the innovators are people who are quick to pick up any innovation that comes. Now, if you add it, that is around 15-point-something%.
Yes.
If you cannot get the attention of 15 to 18% of the population, you cannot actually influence this, because here we have a whooping 36.4% who are early majorities. These ones, they wait until they have seen someone using a thing, or they have attended that conference for them to attend. And then next to it, we have the late majority. Now, these are the people who they can only change when change is inevitable.
When it's the only option.
When they're the only ones who are remaining,
Yeah.
And then the last category, which is about 2.51%, we have the laggards. Now, those ones they cannot even be influenced. Those ones are rigid, and they cannot take your thing until, like the late majority, until they see someone else doing that. Now, if you're doing something as a young person, I will encourage you, so that you can actually keep the place of social capital.
Yes.
Get the attention of at least 15 or 18% of people who believe what you do.
Wow.
The opportunities I got because someone knew what I am doing. And they told me, Okanda, can you come and do a training for us? I've done a number of programs in Makueni. But someone just knowing what I do, so they're like, I think we can give you this work to do. That is social capital.
Wow.
So social capital is also pegged on the fact, do people know what you do? And do they know your work ethics? Do they know your value system? Do they know how you operate? And stuff like that?
My God. I feel like we need to take a break. Let's take a short break.
Sure.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
And we are back, lady or gentleman. The things that Okanda is sharing are just too weighty. I was just telling him on the side that the things I'm learning today, it's like I've never heard about them, like ever. And I believe you are learning together with me. And just before we come to the conclusion of the show, let's talk briefly about how do you fuel your social capital.
Yeah, because it's very important. You can build this kind of a relationship, and then you lose it.
You lose it on the way.
And it's very possible because I've seen people losing it on the way. And so what I will encourage the viewers to do is I'll just mention about 4 things.
Yes.
Number 1, make sure you take care of your work ethics, because some of the people you're building this social capital, the networks you're building, they have to see what is your work ethics, what is your belief system, what are your value system. So make sure you take care of your work ethics and never lose sight of it.
Wow.
Number 2, it's what I call reciprocity. Reciprocity. The thing about social capital is that people will come for the first time, or they will come for you for the first time.
Yes.
But what are you giving back? Let me tell you, Rozitta, maybe some of the people you are building this network with, they may not need money. Because they have a lot of money. Some of the people I've interviewed, like Professor Pielo Lumumba, there's no amount of money I can actually pay him because he has it all. But let me tell you this, you need to make sure that you are respecting their place. You don't just jump into their inbox anytime. You don't just call them anytime. In fact, you need to make sure that you're also respecting them in a manner that, and maybe that can be what maybe you are reciprocating in that kind of a relationship. So they will give you platforms, they will give you places to speak, so to say, they'll give you opportunities to serve. But yet again, you need to make sure that those are not your friends. Those are not your friends. They're not your buddies. Your social capital is not necessarily your buddies. They're not the people you can just hang around with any time. And so reciprocity may mean to you just respect them. You respect them and you know their place, and that is it. You get. But the other thing that is also of importance is trust. Trust is the only thing that can fuel your social capital. If people cannot trust you with their time, they cannot trust you. Maybe someone might tell you, for example, my mentor will tell me, I remember there's a time, my mentor told me, let's meet at 6. And I was staying very far. You know, I had to leave the house at 5 so that we met at 6, and they picked me. And then we had our meeting at 6:30. So you also have to make sure that trust is there. They don't tell you let's meet at this time and then you come 1 hour late. And that goes back to the first thing I mentioned, your work ethics. And trust is built by your ethics. If people cannot trust you from the point of your value system, you're going to lose them at some point. And that is costly, especially in our generation where it's a microwave kind of a generation where you just want to wake up one morning and do great things. You may lose track of trust, or maybe the other thing is, one thing actually that can kill trust is wanting to be who you are not, and showing up who you are not. Let them know you came on foot. Don't hire a car to go see someone. Okay, it's good for PR. But let me tell you this.
Seems like you have a story.
Let's not go there. But the thing is this. For me, I just to make it clear, I have always shown up the way I am. And I don't want to compromise. Let them know that I came on foot. It's better you get there. If you have dusty shoes, go somewhere, clean them up, and show up. Don't pretend to be a person that you are not, because reality will catch up with you with time. Time is a master of it all. It will just catch up. So trust is also very important to make sure that you're also fueling your social capital. Because I'm telling you the truth, your social capital will take you where your degree might never take you.
That's true.
For sure. There's a time I was called to speak in a global youth summit. And it was organized by some guy from Nigeria. And I came to realize these are people who are following my work ethics. They see what I post on my social media. They see what I am doing. And it boils down to how actually you operate even on the social media. Don't just say things. And for sure, this thing we call social capital is actually a slippery ground.
It is.
You will not just appear anywhere. You will not just do anything the way you want to do. You might need to make sure that you are taking care of your reputation in a good way.
Yeah.
And you really ask God to help you, to give you grace to stay sane. You know, many times we need the grace of God to stay sane. True. Because many times we might lose it along the way. So those 4 things are your work ethics. You need to make sure that it's very, very, very clear. Reciprocity. Give back. It might just be respect. Yes. And if you know that some people in your social networks they have events, show up for them. Nice. Popularize their thing. Tell people what is happening. Because we'll talk about them positively, even when they're not there. Yeah. You see, because that is also very important to understand. The other thing is trust. Trust is the building block of any relationship, either romantic or work relationship. Trust is key to understand. The other thing is just be who you're supposed to be. Don't try to be who you are not. Show up the way you are, because that is key and very important.
Amazing. The things you're sharing, my friend. Very, very important things. And I know we cannot entirely exhaust the whole topic.
Yes.
So before we run out of time, you have just published a book.
Oh, yes.
Please share with us about that book. Just briefly, don't preempt, so that we can come by it from you.
Sure.
Yes.
So guys, I am an author.
Others in the house.
Yeah, I'm a coffee, but it feels different to be an author, you know. So I have written a book called, I've titled it Builder. The Pressure of Being Gifted.
The pressure of being gifted.
Not looking for a gift.
Yeah.
These are people who have already found.
You already have the gift, not the pressure.
They're experiencing unknown pressure. Pressure of imposter syndrome.
Oh, that really gets to me, my God.
The pressure of self-esteem. The societal pressure.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you just feel incapacitated in terms of, do I really have something to offer? And people in the Bible question God about it. Talk of Moses. You know, talk of people like Joseph. They had to go through so much torture to be where they're supposed to be. Yes. They were dreamers. They were able to see what God has called them to do, but they went through so much torture to be where they are. David, you know, so actually I came to realize that the fight that David experienced, Goliath was not the problem. David fought the battle with Saul almost the better part of his life, and he fought. And God called him when he was 17 years old, but he became king when he was 30.
Yeah.
This number of years that were actually making him. And I just came to realize, we who are gifted, we go through quite a lot of things. We go through quite a lot of things, and no one has talked to us, succinctly what we're supposed to do when we experience some things. So I thought, let me write down a book. And the first chapter of the book, I talk about my life story and how it has shaped my perspective, how it has cleared my worldview, and the person that I am today. And I've just been keen enough and generous enough to tell people that your past must fuel you to make sure that you are realizing your future. It should not determine, but it should inspire you to become what God expects you to become. So the first chapter I talk about 21 years of obscurity, and I talk about my life, the 21 years that I experienced a lot of things. Life threw me in a corner, and I shared that when we were starting this session, and gave me responsibilities that I was not even ready for.
You are too young for.
You can imagine. And then I also talk about the power of small steps. How do you take this block by block? You don't just, a house is not, you don't start building the house from the top.
You don't just wish a mansion.
You don't just wish a mansion. I also talk about the disciplines, what it takes to be a gifted person, and the disciplines you need to build around you. I have also talked about how do you get people to finance and to support. And I've used the term scaffolds. Scaffolds, when they're building a story building, you see they normally they put support system as the building goes up. Yes. When the building is standing, the scaffolds are not there. You see, the scaffolds are removed. And how do you build people? How do you attract people who will be so intentional with you that they will support you as you go up? And then they will be kind enough to leave you to operate, not to hold on to you and tell you lazima ulipe, but then nilikuwa hapo ukianza lazima utoe kitu, you get Zamacho and all those things. People will be kind enough, and they come in form of mentors, they come in form of friends, they come in form of maybe a love partner. You know, how do you make sure that you attract such kind of people? So I authored that book, and I'm looking forward to launch it on the 15th of October.
Amazing.
And I pray that it will be a blessing to the world. Amazing. Because that is one of the gifts I'm looking forward to give to the world.
I'm definitely going to get my code.
Sure.
Can we invite our audience for the launch?
Yeah, make a commitment to come to Africa International University. It is in Karen. Come there on 15th. We are looking forward to host you. The book goes for 1,000 shillings, and it's going to be a blessing to your life. It's one of the investments. If you want me to be part of your social network, please buy my book.
Imagine having Okanda in your social capital. My God.
Buy my book. Yeah, so come to Africa International University on 15th of October. I'll be launching my book, and expect you to come with your friends, come with your lovers, come with your fiancés, come with your husbands and your wives, and get my book.
I'll be there. Yeah. Thank you so much, Okanda. Sure. You're such an inspiration, and you know, I'm so excited to see how far you've come, because I've seen you when you're in KU, and here you are. You're just a totally different person, you know. So I really appreciate the person that you've become and that you're becoming.
Thank you.
And this world is waiting for greater manifestations from you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate everything you have shared. You've changed me. Honestly, you have. You have. And I'll start building up my social capital and fueling it. I think that's the point that has really gotten to me, because it can be easy to reach out to somebody, but maintaining that relationship, that connection, that's the challenge. And that's my takeaway.
Wow, amazing.
So thank you so much. You really inspired me personally. And I believe our viewers as well have learned a lot. And I hope if they want to watch you again, you're going to say yes.
Yes, I'll come back.
I really, really appreciate you.
Welcome.
Congratulations on writing a book.
Thank you.
We're waiting for more books.
Sure, they're coming.
Amen.
A lot of them.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Lady or gentleman, that was Okanda for you. You have had a lot of things from him. I mean, we have not even exhausted or even scooped the top part of this topic, but I believe what he has shared is enough to challenge you to start taking those steps and taking charge of your life, taking charge of your social capital, so that you can become a better person and the person that God created you to be. As I'm challenged, I hope you're also challenged, and let's work to be better.
Sure.
I had somebody say on one of your Zooms that the best work you'll ever do is work on yourself.
That's true.
And I believe social capital is part of working on yourself.
And it's work. I think the last thing I will tell people, and this you can go do your research.
Yes.
You know, a change is when a tadpole becomes a frog. That is change. Because the same matter that makes up a frog is the same matter that a tadpole is the same matter that makes up a frog.
Yes.
Transformation is when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly.
Okay, change, transformation.
I think if there is anything that people should endeavor to be, is to try to be transformed people.
Wow.
I know even it is a spiritual, it's a biblical principle. Paul tells people that it tells us that do not be conformed to the standards of this world. That is change, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. And transformation is costly. It is only available to people who are ready to transform.
Amazing. Let's do this together. Let's begin this journey of transformation together. And I know we'll have another chance to talk more and even get into the topics of dealing with family traumas and all that. I believe God will give us that chance someday. So if you've enjoyed this topic, if you've learned something, make sure you share it in the comment section. Let me know what is that thing that has really resonated with you. And of course, remember to subscribe if you haven't, and like this video as well, so that it can be recommended to somebody else who needs to transform their lives after watching this episode. I was your host, Rozitta, and my guest
Okanda Eugine
Steve.
The author.
The author now.
Yeah, and the executive director or CEO and founder of
Unlock Young Leader Summit. Congratulations. I really appreciate you. I know we can continue.
Sure.
We have to end this at this point.
Blessings.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time. Bye guys.
Bye-bye.